Hi everyone. In this first video, I want to just talk about the interface of Photoshop. So, what are all of these different panels that you see? I have Photoshop from the cloud opened up here. Once you've installed this, or if you're working on the school computers, you would come over to the Start button and look for Adobe, and you would open up Adobe Photoshop. If you're on your home computer, you may be looking for the little icon of the Creative Cloud. Either way, let's open up Photoshop and start looking at the panels. I have here already a couple of documents open, just so you could see how those look. And we'll go through opening them up together in another video. So to start off with, this area here where I have my images is called the document area. I have several images open, and in Photoshop they open up as tabs. And I'll show you how you can change that later on. But just to point out, so this is my document area. I have 4 images open, and they're all open here as tabs. And if I want to close one of them, I just click on that little X icon. Over here, we have the Tool panel, and by clicking on the top of it, I can click and drag it around. So these are all the different kinds of tools that we're going to be learning about throughout the semester. I could choose to have this as a double column by clicking on this little arrow here. So whichever way works for you, and you can experiment with kind of moving this and dragging it around. If you close the Tool panel by accident, I hit the X and I didn't mean to, I'm going to go up to Window, and I can pull it back. Where are my tools? Here they are, Tools. And then I'll open them up again. Okay? So again, I can click and drag them around. I could make them into double columns. I could close it. Now, for each one of these tools, first of all, notice that a lot of the tools have a little drop-down indication of a little triangle here. And that means if I click and hold on this, I'll find other related tools embedded within. So just take a second and go through some of these tools and see how actually there are more tools than you realize. Once you just start clicking, you can realize, get to a whole bunch of other tools. Each one of these tools has some presets, and you can change those presets. So, for example, I'm going to click on the paintbrush here, and I'm going to go up to this panel up here, which is called the Options bar. And this is where I could change the presets. For example, what you're going to be doing for your first assignment is the opacity. I want to paint, but I don't want to paint at 100% opacity. I want to paint at 50% opacity, let's say, for example. Let's take a look at another tool. One of my selection tools. I have a whole bunch of choices of ways I can change the default presets for my selection tools up here in the Options bar. So typically the way you work is you select your tool, you select whichever tool you want that's embedded within here, and then you may go up to the Options bar and change the presets. So as an example, another example here, I'm going to move down to let's see, I have these blur, sharpen, smudge tools, dodge tool, burn tool, sponge tool. My sponge tool, by the default preset that I have it set up to, will desaturate, but I could change it to saturate. So this is a tool that could do complete opposites just by changing its presets in the Options bar. Okay, up here you have your main menu that you would have in most programs. So under Files, where you could go to New, Open, Save, things, Print. Under Edit, I'm going to encourage you to learn a lot of these things by keyboard shortcuts, but obviously this is where we go to undo, to copy, to paste. Also Transform, this is an area that we're going to be exploring very soon, about rotating and flipping your image, or parts of your image. Under Image, we're going to be working with Mode and Adjustments, which is grayed out right now just because of the layer I'm on. I'll get to that in a second. Also image size and canvas size and image rotation. So these are all things we'll be jumping into very soon. Layer, a lot of the things that you have here in Layer, we can also access from the Layers panel, which is over here. And I'll get to that in a second. Type, so if you want to, when you're working with text and you want to change some of the presets or get more specific with type, you go up here. Select, well, the first group of tools that we have over here are the selection tools. And so some of the presets you can change right here under the main area for Select. Filter, this is something that we'll get into much later on. 3D we will not be working with in this class, but if you take Digital Imaging 2, you'll work with 3D. View is just about how you view this whole canvas area. Window is where you're going to go, again, if you close a window by accident, or not all of the windows are open. If I close something or I want to open it up, I can go to get it from window, and I can also adjust my workspaces. Another thing I could do under window is if, let's say, I don't want to have all my images open up just one by one as tabs, I could have them 3 line up as a horizontal, for example. So you can, under window, arrange, or 4 up. I could see 4 of them at the same time. So I'm just going to do, let's see, I'll stack it up with tile vertically, for example, just to have something to show you a little something different here. And under help, that's where you can go online and get some help, additional help. Over here, so there are some additional panels, and some of them are docked. One of the panels that you're going to want to use a lot is called the history panel. You may or may not see this icon. So if this isn't here, you can go up to window and choose history. And once you have it, so I can take this panel, any of these panels I can click and I can drag them out. If I click on that double arrow, it makes it like a small little icon again. So this is all about saving screen real estate. If you want to dock any of these little icons, you bring it back over to the column, and when you see that blue bar up there, that means if you let go, it's going to be docked. So history panel, you can click on any one of these and see what they open up, and you click open, or mine's not minimizing now, and click on them. Oh, I had a little frozen action there. Click on them again to get them to be small. Over here, the way these panels look is really going to depend on how you have your workplace set up. So if yours looks different from mine, don't worry about it. I have my presets set to essentials, but if I change it to photography, notice how things change here. I could change it to typography, and again my panels are going to change here. So this we'll get into later, but they're all of different kinds of panels that I can have open here, and I'll have changing throughout the semester. What we'll almost always have will be the layers panel down here, and notice a lot of these panels have other tabs, so we want to make sure that you're actually on the layers panel. So pretty early on from your first project, we're going to start working with layers, because layers is like what's one of the beautiful things about Photoshop, is that we can stack things up in different layers and make non-destructive edits. Okay, so that pretty much covers the interface, and then I'll break this down into, I'll do some more videos and talk about some of the specific tools that you need for your first project.